Welcome everybody! This is long time not happening. Welcome to YouTube channel. I am Matthew Krasinski. It's been a while since I've done YouTube video live stream. I was born here in Canada with accent. It's the way I've always been, but today is going to be very special. We're going to unbox laptop, lots of laptop. So don't be scared. Be happy you're here on Friday afternoon to spend time with your favorite Russian gangster. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. It's been a minute. I'm happy to see all of your faces in here. I hope all of you guys have been having a fantastic summer. Someone said audio. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do you mean again? It's playing. The audio's playing, people. Are you sure it's the audio? Yeah, everyone hears me. Here we go. See, you guys thought the audio was there, but it's there. All right, so it's been a while since I've done a video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic summer. I got a bunch of laptops in the studio. I want to unbox them. I want to go through them, but I got to give a couple of quick shout outs to my Discord crew. Welcome to the channel. Everyone hears me fine, Python. I think it's just you, dude. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. What's going on, Pratik? What's up, Zmad? What's going on, everybody in here? This is it. It's time to do the unboxing. So I'm just going to randomly choose a laptop from down here, and then we're going to start unboxing because that's what we do here. All right, first up on the list is this bad boy right here, okay? This, my friends, is the Gigabyte Aero. I haven't opened it up yet, but I know what laptop it is. Obviously, I know what laptop it is. I mean, like every YouTuber knows what's in the box, even though they say they don't know what's in the box. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Let's do this. What's going on, Biba? Discord gang in the house. Ooh, don't want to rip that box. So first one, let's see if I get like that. Aero. Okay, so this is the Aero 15. This one is the OLED version. So the only thing that comes in the box is your manual. You have, what else? Power brick is going to be in here. My guess, this is a 280 watt power brick. Let's see if I'm right. We're looking at 230 watt power brick. So, you know, your typical Cinconi power brick that you get with a lot of laptops. This is pretty standard. The other side here is just going to be the power cable that connects to it. Now, this laptop is very, very special because it's OLED. OLED is a thing now. A lot of gaming laptops, a lot of creator laptops are coming with OLED displays. We've seen this on the Razer Blade 15. That has an OLED display. The Alienware is getting it. The Aero's getting it. A lot of laptops are getting it. Now, people have mixed feelings about it because, first of all, it's more expensive, which you got to pay extra for. On top of that, you're not getting the same refresh rates you would on a 144 Hz panel or 240 Hz panel that you get on other gaming laptops. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing because 60 Hz, we've dealt with it before. But if you're a creator who likes to game, you're most likely going to gravitate towards an Aero 15 or a Razer Blade 15 with an OLED display because you have that inky blacks with that insane 100,000 to 1 contrast ratios for creating. So this is it. Same keyboard as before. In typical Gigabyte fashion, the whole keyboard takes up the entire deck. You have your numpad here. It's a little bit of a claustrophobic feeling, but at least they were able to fit the entire thing inside of the same deck. Now this is all metal. This is a very premium laptop. The one I have here is rocking an i7 9750H. Let's see how much RAM it has. It also has 16 gigabytes of RAM. That is completely blown out. You guys can't see that. But there's 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then for a GPU, that's what these guys are putting in here for a GPU. For the GPU, we're going to jump in the device manager. It lights up on the back. Yes, you have a white light that says Aero on the back to give you some pizzazz. The keyboard is RGB. It's not activated right now, but it's something you can enable under the control center for Gigabyte's version of software. So for the GPU, we're looking at an RTX 2070 Max-Q. So pretty standard, pretty powerful, good enough to like get good frame rates for most modern titles, but yet still really good for like content creation. Like the 2070 is like a sweet spot. A lot of people aim for it if they can't afford the 2080 Max Q. All right, so this is the first laptop. Other things you need to know, like I said, all metal deck, very clean build. I love the way Gigabyte styles their laptop. Like this is like a 5-pound laptop, but it's very thin. Like you have all your ports on the left side, so your full-size HDMI, USB Type-C. This is Thunderbolt 3, USB 3.0, and of course your RJ45. On the other side, we have a barrel connector, another USB Type-C port. This one's probably not Thunderbolt 3, or this one is Thunderbolt 3. This one's Thunderbolt 3, the other one's not. SD card slot and 2 USB 3.0 ports. So one thing that I like that Gigabyte does is the fact they actually include a full-size SD card on their gaming laptops. A lot of other manufacturers are starting to omit them from their gaming laptops. And if you're someone who's going to school and does a little bit of creative work and also likes to game, having that SD card slot is very, very important. I like this design. It's super clean. Like I could totally rock this, not be embarrassed when I take it to school. And at the same time, it's more than capable to game. So this will be reviewed very soon, so stay tuned for that. Now, if you want the prices, Python, can you do me a favor and post the price of this laptop in the Discord chat, because I can't do that while I'm doing the thing. But my guess is the 2070 model is probably around $1,900. That's just an educated guess, but someone in the chat is going to confirm it for you guys. All right, next laptop. We have this bad boy right here. Okay, let's open it up. Something from Lenovo. We all like Lenovo laptops. By the way, you can tell by the size of the box that this one here is going to be an Ultrabook, just by the size of it. This is definitely not going to be a gaming laptop. Okay, let's take this up. Woo! Manuals, power button. All right. So in typical Lenovo fashion, we're looking at a 65-watt charging brick. This is the same size, not same size, but same amount of power as the charging brick that comes with a MacBook Pro 15. The only difference is that the MacBook Pro 15 has a very square charging brick, whereas the Lenovo one is a little bit on the rectangular side. Now, the cool thing about these power bricks is they're interchangeable. Like you could use this on any Lenovo laptop because it's using USB Type-C. And you can use it to charge all your other devices. Oh, so you're worthy, can it run Minecraft? The OLED can, the Gigabyte OLED, Gigabyte Aero OLED can definitely run Minecraft. Okay, what is this one we're working with here? This is the X1 Carbon. Is this the Yoga? Let's find out. I don't think this is the Yoga. Let's move all this stuff out of the way. So this is, ooh, this is the Yoga. Oh man, this feels fantastic. Like the quality and workmanship that Lenovo puts into their ThinkOne X1 lineup is one of my favorite. Like you combine that solid workmanship with one of the best keyboards on the market, and you have such a sick laptop. All right, so what do we have? We have the Lenovo U-shaped keys with a good plush travel distance. Like typing on this thing is super comfortable. You have the nipple, and you guys know how I feel about nipples, okay? There's only one company out there that makes a quality nipple, and it happens to be Lenovo. So if you want a nipple on your laptop, this is where you gotta go in life, people. You gotta gravitate towards the Lenovos. So this is the i7 model. It's the 8th gen processor, so I'm guessing the 8565U. Let's power this up in the meantime. We have a fingerprint scanner on the bottom, right here. On the right-hand side, we have a USB port, power connector, Nobleton lock, and this, what is this? I think this is a pen. Is this a pen? I think this is a pen. Yes, there it is. Sweet. We have a pen. The cool thing about what Lenovo's doing with their laptops right now is they're baking all of their pens inside of the laptop. This is so much easier because, let's face it, like when you have like a tablet and you have to carry a pen around with you, you end up losing it. Or at least you have a higher chance of losing it. Why am I having difficulties putting this in? You have a higher chance of losing it. So I like the fact that they're enabling you to stick it in the laptop so you don't lose it. It's just a nice little feature to have. Trust me, if you use a pen a lot, you want a place to stick your pen. On the other side, We have an HDMI port, another USB port, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, another USB-C, which is obviously for powering the laptop. You can also transfer data through it, and your audio jack. So one person said, imagine if it wasn't the Yoga and I completely bent it and broke it. That would not be funny. I mean, you guys would laugh, but I probably wouldn't laugh. Maybe I would laugh. But it's something I would do just because I'm such a klutz. But yeah, so this is all premium. It's metal, as you can see here. They've updated the colors. Like last year, you could get this in black as well. The way you turn it on is on the right-hand side. So you have a little power button on the right. So let's see if this guy has any battery in him. And he does. Python, yo, what about a $399 gaming chair? What laptop is that? So this is the Lenovo X1 Yoga. This is the 7th gen, just came out. This was announced at CES. They started sending out units recently, and this happens to be one of the few that I have in the studio. So this model right here looks like to be the 4K version. Let's see. So as you can see here, here's the display. Ooh, look at that PWM flickering. I gotta fix my camera. So this one has 16 gigabytes of RAM, the 8665U. So this is still Whiskey Lake, not the new, is it Cannon Lake? Yeah, not the new Ice Lake processors. That would be some crazy like 10617 number, the way Intel names their things. We have, let's see the hard drive here. We're using a 1 terabyte or 952 gigabyte NVMe SSD, so you're gonna get super fast read and write speeds. The display, this one looks like to be 4K. So let's confirm that. This one is 4K display. Now, one thing I like about the Yoga over the ThinkPad, like the regular X1 ThinkPad, is they use a different aspect ratio. This looks like to be a 3:2 aspect ratio. Actually, no, this is not a 3:2 aspect ratio, is it? 3840 by 1600. No, this is a regular 16:9 display. It's just because it's up on the hinges, it makes it look like it's a 3:2 aspect ratio. So the benefit about the Yoga is being able to swap the display like this, pull out the pen, go ahead, start writing, and then jot down notes. Now, let's go on to the next laptop. Bam! Gotta cover my address. Do it from this side. Where's my pizza cutter? I'm gonna make it a pizza. I'm gonna open a laptop. Ta-ta-da. All right. We got a Dell in the house. Straight from Dell Canada, I think, or Dell USA. One of the two. Man, this place is gonna be a mess afterwards. All right, let's see. We know what this is. I think you guys know exactly what this laptop is. Dell XPS 157590. I've been dying to get this guy into the studio for the past little while. Just because I used to use an XPS 15 as my main laptop about 3 years ago, but I kind of moved away from it just because it would just get too hot. And I noticed the performance would continuously drop when I was using it. And that's something you don't want to use in a laptop. Like, you don't want your performance to drop. CPU getting too hot is just not a good experience. Okay, I need some quietness for the removal of the plastic. Especially you gotta be quiet for the removal of the plastic. There she is. Dell XPS 15. They really haven't changed this design in a very long time. Like, this has been the exact same design for the past 4 years. And it's getting out of hand because they're putting i9s in here, they're putting powerful i7 CPUs in here, and they're just getting too hot. And it's something that hasn't been fixed. So I'm wondering if they've done anything with the latest model to improve the heat dissipation, to allow the CPU to run cooler. Or maybe they're just continuously throttling it so it doesn't get as hot. But yeah, we're gonna have to test this out because I really want to go back to the XPS 15. It used to be one of my favorite laptops, but they keep messing it up with thermals. All right. Woo-wee. This one here is the i9. This one is fully loaded. So we're gonna test this guy out to see exactly what it can do. One thing I do miss though is this awesome carbon fiber deck. This is hands down one of my favorite keyboard decks on a laptop. Like, it's just so comfortable to rest your wrists on. Like, it really is. The keyboard is still the same, so you have like a shorter travel distance. It's a good keyboard. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Like, I'd rather have the U-shaped keys on a Lenovo laptop over the keys on a Dell laptop, just because they're like, oh God, that's so much better. Just because they're more comfortable to type on, but they're not bad. The ones on the Dell are really not that bad. Okay, is this the OLED model? No, I don't think this is the OLED model. It looks so good. Actually, this might be, no, this is not the OLED model. So this is the 4K version. This is the HDR version. This is not OLED. And in some instances, this is actually a better display in certain ways than the OLED one. But honestly, if you were gonna buy this laptop, I don't think it's worth buying the OLED version of this, just because the regular 4K HDR screen is just so good. All right, what do we else got for specs here? This one is running the i9 98 or 9980 HK, 32 gigabytes of RAM. So this thing is stacked and ready to edit video. That also means it's paired with a GTX 1650. So this is going to give you the extra performance, at least GPU-wise, compared to the previous model. But again, the question still begs, is this thing going to overheat while you're using it? Because that was the biggest issue with the previous model, the year before that, and even the year before that. So I'm gonna have to put it through its paces. I'm gonna do some proper testing, and then obviously I'm gonna do a proper review and let you guys know. All right, what else do you need to know about this laptop? Power button, I think this pairs up as a fingerprint sensor or fingerprint scanner. We have the webcam. Oh, the webcam is actually back on top. So I don't know if you guys remember, in all previous models, the webcam would be down here in the corner, and then when it would stare at you, it would stare like directly up your nose. It wasn't the most flattering webcam. So they're calling this the, oh, I forget the exact name, but it's so tiny. I remember seeing it at the Dell hands-on. It's such a tiny little camera. The quality is not good. It's still a potato, but at least they put it in a better position. So what else do we got? Same hinge, same keyboard, same deck. On the left-hand side, you're still rocking the same port, so your Braille connector. This is using a 130 watt power supply, I believe. You have your full-size HDMI, USB 3.0, Thunderbolt 3, audio jack, and then on the other side, you still get that sexy SD card slot, another USB port, battery indicator to let you know how much battery is left. Right now, the laptop is fully charged. And then, of course, you have your Nobleton lock. I don't know, man. This design is getting stale, but it still sits in my heart as one of those laptops that I want to make, that I hope it comes good again. I mean, that's really it. I really hope it becomes good again, but I don't think it's going to until they do something with the thermals inside of here. So we're gonna have to see what happens in the near future. All right, next laptop. Hoo-yah! Okay. We got another Lenovo in the house. All right. Let's see what we're doing here. Let me just switch the camera. This would be so much easier if I had a cameraman. Oh yeah. Okay, so this one is the Lenovo X1 Carbon. This is the standard. Oh, but this is the one with the new carbon weave design. Like, I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but depending on the angle that I let the light shine off of it, maybe if I do it like this, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's this nice carbon fiber weave. If you compare it to the carbon fiber or the carbon fiber on the Dell, it's a little bit different. Like, the Dell has like thicker weaves. This one has very, very tiny weaves. It's really hard to see it on camera. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it there, unless you're in person. It's really nice. It's such a nice touch. It's a little bit different than the black model they usually have. I like it. And it just gives like a little bit of new character to a very, very similar design for the past, 5 years they've been using this design? Okay, this model. We got the same sort of port situation as the Yoga. Here, I'll put them side by side so you guys can see the difference. So same port situation as the Yoga. On the left-hand side, you have your Kensington lock, USB 3.0, and your power button. And then on the other side, you have USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3. You have two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3s, a port to connect the RJ45 jack, USB, HDMI, and then, of course, your audio jack. Like, They're pretty much the exact same size. If anything, I don't know if you guys can see this, if anything, the Yoga is slightly wider and taller, and that's to incorporate the different hinge style. Like the X1 Carbon regular is using a different hinge system. Like the hinges are on the left and right. The monitor seeps down more, so the overall package is smaller. Whereas on the Yoga, you have these bigger hinges. And the bigger hinges is to incorporate the 360-degree swivel. So you are carrying a slightly bigger laptop, but you do get the benefit of being able to draw on the screen and flip it 360 degrees. So one person says lackluster ports. I disagree. If you compare this to something like the MacBook Pro, you're actually getting a lot more ports, especially if you're in a business environment. You have the key essential ports that you need. Like when you're in a business environment, you need an HDMI port. Even though you can use USB Type-C now, you still need an HDMI port because a lot of the proprietary equipment at these businesses are still using older TVs, older designs, and the HDMI port is still very, very important, which both of these laptops have. You got the USB Type-C ports, you have 3 of them, or 2 of them, sorry, and you still have 2 standard USB-A ports. This has a lot of I/O. So I don't know why you're saying it doesn't have a lot of I/O, because when you compare this to other Ultrabooks, it completely dominates the I/O department, especially something like the MacBook Pro. What about the dock? This one does not have a dock. It's like Dbrand's Matrix skin. So yeah, it kind of looks like Dbrand's Matrix skin, but the feeling is like a rubberized carbon fiber feel. It's really, really nice, but it is going to pick up fingerprints. It's not going to be as bad at picking up fingerprints as, let's say, I don't know, I don't have it here, but the Razer Blade 15, which is like an anodized aluminum, but it will over time, but yet it's a lot more durable. See, the thing about the Yoga line is they use a very durable design because these are for business individuals who take these on road trips, who usually use them in environments that are not standard like most consumers. So they do have a bit more durability compared to like the regular laptop. So one person asks, are you going to review the Legion Y540? And I say, yes, I am. I'm just waiting for it to come in. There's a lot of laptops coming in, folks. Like, I mean a lot. I got these 4 to review. I got more coming in the near future. So it's going to be a packed summer. So stay tuned for like a lot of laptop reviews. I got a bunch coming in from HP. So stay tuned. The Asus ZenBook does have a lot of ports as well. So let's turn on the X1 Carbon and take a look at it. So based on weight, the X1 Carbon is definitely lighter. Like if you're looking for the lighter Ultrabook, the X1 Carbon is where you want to be. Like as you can see here already, because of the type of deck it's using, it already, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's already some fingerprints on it because it's so easy to get this deck dirty. And this is not just like Lenovo's laptops. This goes for any deck that uses this rubberized material. Same with the Dell XPS 15, same with the Razer Blade. Any laptop that has a black kind of dashboard or deck is going to get dirty when you touch it. It's just the way it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. Now, one thing they changed this year was instead of putting the speakers on the bottom of the laptop, you have them on the top. So this is going to give you better sound when you're listening to music. In fact, let's take a listen and see how this sounds. Wow, this display is absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful display. This is definitely 4K. I don't know if you guys can see that. Actually, I don't want to put it too bright because you're not going to be able to see it. But this is a 4K display. Really nice display, on point. HDR, so you can watch HDR content on this. And it comes fully loaded. So this is probably using the exact same CPU as the Yoga, which I have over here. So we're looking at 16 gigabytes of RAM. Yep, 16 gigabytes of RAM. The 8665U, so exact same specs as the Yoga. So it really comes down to personal preference. Do you want the 2-in-1 or do you want a laptop that's a little bit more traditional? All right, let's connect to the internet and do a little bit of a music test because I want to hear the speakers on this because this is a new or slightly refined design and I want to see if they made big improvements because you know what? Even if you're doing business all the time, you're still a human being. You still want good sound, especially external sound. So it's important to have that on your laptop. All right, let's load up Microsoft Edge. Let's go to SoundCloud. So one person says, what do you think about the Acer Nitro 5? Are you recommending anything else? So the Acer Nitro 5 is in the lower tier budget category for gaming laptops. I don't mind it. Like Acer's done a lot of tinkering with the software and the internals to keep it cooler. But because of the fan design and the way the chassis is set up, it still gets a little bit hot. Not as bad as the previous year, but it still gets hot that I'd be kind of concerned like a year down the road. As long as you maintain it correctly, you don't, you keep the fans on max, and you're not really pushing it to the point where you're doing like blender renders, that rhymed, blender renders, or anything that's like constantly going for hours and hours of use, the laptop is absolutely fine. You just gotta know what you're buying it for. If it's for strictly gaming, totally fine. Like you're not gonna get any drop frames. It's gonna be okay. It just, every once in a while, it's gonna go up to like 90 or 91 degrees Celsius when you're gaming. That's just the way it is because of its thermal design. All right, Tiger fact, Dell G7 I haven't tried the Dell G7 2015 yet, but I plan to. And I'm also gonna get the Alienware M15 in the studio as well, because I wanna test that as well. For some reason, Alienware is very slow at getting the review units out. Okay, here we go. Let's get some sound here, people.
Open sesame.
Hey, okay. Yeah. Sit next to my homies, fuck. Yeah. Too many problems. I smoke too many swishes. Roll into that table wobble. I roll around with women who be off the full bottle.
Okay, so the sound is definitely better, but it's not like blowing me away. Like it's better in the sense that they simply just put the speakers on the top so it directly hits you, as opposed to having them on the bottom and then bounce off the ground and then give you that kind of like tinny, echoey feel. It's not like revolutionary to the point where it's like, wow, they really improved these speakers. All they did was just simply change the position of them to give you better sound. And that's exactly what you're getting here. Keyboard, oh, this thing. I honestly wish every laptop, I wish every laptop that had this keyboard. Jesus, calm down there, Felly. Okay, I'm trying to run a live stream here. Who do you think you are? I wish every keyboard was like this because it just feels wonderful to type on. You should make a rap track and use it for audio tests. I really should. Maybe I should rap for the audio tests. How about that? I'll just record like an LP and then I'll load it up on all the computers and that will be my audio test, is me rapping. Okay, should I buy the MSI GF65 for gaming as well studying? I haven't reviewed the 2019 model, if there is a 2019 model, but the 2018 model of the MSI GF63 was a decent laptop for the price, but my major concern with it last year was the build quality. It just felt really, really poor. Like it was crinkly, you had some like, it just didn't feel like a very durable laptop. But if you can get a sweet deal on it, not too bad. Okay, so I want to know one thing though. I want to know the keyboard difference between these two. Like, do they feel any different? So we got these both right here. They feel it, I don't know, this could be me, this could just be a placebo, but I honestly feel like the X1 Carbon has slightly better key travel. Like, I mean, ever so slightly. It's minor, but I don't know, this just could be a placebo, but they feel very, very equal. Now, I want to know, if you were to have one of these laptops, like if you could only buy one of these two laptops, the X1 Yoga or the X1 Carbon, which one would you gravitate towards? Would it be the traditional standard laptop with the smaller design, the traditional form factor with the new speakers on top, or would you gravitate towards the Yoga with the pen on the side, being able to flip the screen 360 degrees? Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments right now. Other things to note is they both have Windows Hello. The cool thing about these laptops is they come with a new feature called, I think it's called Think Shutter. I think that's the proper name for it. I could be wrong. Is this touchscreen? No, not touchscreen. It comes with Think Shutter. So what you can do is instead of placing tape on the top of your webcam, all you simply have to do is just take your finger and close it using the little shutter button. This is so much nicer. Like, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to carry tape on you. You can just get it done. What's difficult on put this keyboard layout on IdeaPad. So they'll never put, so they'll have the similar like U-shaped keys on IdeaPads, but they're not going to have the same travel distance. The IdeaPads is meant to be a lower tier of laptop. It's meant to be like the thin ultra portables, but at a lower price point. So they're saving like the more plush, comfortable keyboards for like the X1 lineup, which is like the more business-oriented lineup. And trust me, I've used a lot of keyboards in my day. If you want the best keyboard out there, I can go on forever about this. It's this one right here. It is so good. So Blake B says, bought the X1 Extreme based off of your review, and it's the best purchase I've ever made. You had the best coverage of it. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And you can damn right believe that there's going to be coverage on the X1 Extreme version 2. In fact, it's probably one of my more exciting laptops that I can't wait to review for this year in 2019. So Tiger says Carbon is better at everything. I agree. I personally like the Carbon better than the Yoga. That's just my personal opinion, because I know at the end of the day, I'm really not going to flip this thing 360 degrees. I'm probably never going to use the pen. So I'd rather have a traditional form factor, one that's a little bit smaller, one that has a slightly better keyboard. That could just be me having a placebo effect here. So for me, I'd gravitate towards this. Exactly. A lot of people are saying Carbon all the way. We're getting like a 50-50 here. Some people are going Yoga. Some people are going Carbon. All right. What else do you guys want to know about these laptops? What else do I need to tell you about these laptops? So these ones are a bit more expensive. I don't have the pricing on them, but you're looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, depending on the spec and model you're getting. If you do get the 4K version though, just know you are going to lose some battery life. Like that goes for any computer with a 4K display. Like you are just going to lose battery life. In terms of upgrades, you can't upgrade much inside of these things, but they are easy to get inside of. Like you just have 4 or 5 screws to get in. And then once you're in, you can replace the RAM and you can replace the hard drive. Everything else is soldered onto the motherboard, which is normal for these types of laptops. I do like the fact that they're not soldering on that kind of stuff. What else do we got? Please, Matthew, suggest 2,000 to 2,200 CAD laptop. Casual gamer, coder. If you're a casual gamer and a coder, I wouldn't bother getting like a gaming laptop. I would probably look at, I'd probably look at like last year's Extreme X1. Like you're gonna have like a portable form factor to code on. You're gonna get a solid laptop. To be honest with you, the CPU difference between last year's 8750 and this year's 9750 on laptops means absolutely nothing, just because most laptops with that form factor is gonna power throttle anyway, so you're not gonna see the performance improvements. And the difference between the 1050 Ti Max Q and 1650 is noticeable, but it's not to the point where you're going to be like, wow, I can't do anything on it. Like you're still going to be able to game with settings set to medium. So maybe look at last year's X1 Extreme. With the X1 Extreme version 2 coming out on the market right now, this is probably a good time to look for deals on last year's model. And that goes for any laptop. Like if your deciding factor is between an i7 8750H or 8300H versus this year's 2019 9300H, which is the i5, or 9750H, don't let that be a deciding factor for you, because you're just not going to see the improvements from that specific CPU to the newer CPU. You just won't, because most of these laptops, including gaming ones, tend to power throttle a lot to keep it cooler, and you're not seeing that performance boost. It's just not happening. So focus on your needs, like functionality of the laptop. Like, does it have the keyboard you want? Does it have the display you want? Does it have the GPU you want? And then the last deciding factor should be the CPU, because the jump from the 8th gen to 9th gen more powerful laptop CPUs are not noticeable at all. Okay, what else do we got here? Can you recommend me a 15-inch laptop which doesn't have a gaming look, but it still runs games around $1,000? Oh man, around $1,000. Okay. So for $1,000, you're looking at, for a gaming laptop that doesn't look like a gaming laptop, probably the Y540, Lenovo Legion Y540. That doesn't look like a gaming lap. Well, it kind of does, but it's not that bad. If you want something a little bit more sleek for $1,000, I'd say the Acer Predator Helios 300, but that looks like a gaming laptop. What else is there? HP Omen looks like a gaming laptop. Yeah, I'd honestly stick with the Legion. That's probably going to be your best bet. That's probably like the least looking gaming laptop you can buy that kind of enters both worlds. All right. The Carbon is 6. GS65. I haven't reviewed the MSI GS65, only the GS75. So hopefully sometime in the future. You know what? Let's bring out the Dell XPS 15 because I'm kind of excited to play with this again. So Roger from Life of Tech, great channel, okay? Great channel, great voice, great lad, says, the throttling makes a lot of sense, Matt. Waste of money if you really don't need the very latest hardware. I agree. If you don't need the very latest hardware, you should be focusing more on the GPU, the form factor, the feel, the display. Those should be your top priorities. The CPU, as long as you're getting, like, let's say 6 cores, if you're looking for a 6-core CPU, or 4 cores if you're looking for a gaming CPU, focus more on the other stuff first, then let the CPU be your last deciding factor because, you know, at the end of the day, these things are going to throttle, and they're throttling hard. There's only a few gaming, actually, I take that back. There's only a few gaming laptops right now that are out that don't throttle as hard as the majority of them. The Asus Zephyrus S does a fantastic job of keeping the CPU pretty cool. Like, it's still going to throttle a little bit, but it's like one of the better gaming laptops out there that really take advantage of the CPU. What else? Can you tell the difference between a 1080p and a 4K on display? Absolutely. So easy to tell the difference. Like, you can just notice it. Like, it's 4K display is just significantly sharper. And especially someone like myself who's been doing this for a very long time, you can see the pixel density between both displays, especially when you're this close. Like, if you were to put the laptop like all the way back, like across the room, then obviously it's going to be harder to tell. But when it's sitting in front of you, like at your standard sitting position, you can definitely tell the difference between 4K and 1080p. Like, it's noticeable. I'm a lot more sensitive now than I used to be. Is the GTX 1650 much better than the GTX 1050? Yes, it is. Definitely a nice little upgrade. If you can get a GTX 1650 over the 1050, I definitely would. If you're talking about a 1050 Ti, the upgrade is a little bit better, like 10%, but it's not that big of a deal. Would you get the ZenBook? Yeah, I mean, if the price is right, I would. They're pretty good laptops. Usually they're like in a pretty affordable price point. Like, they're not cheap, but they're not ridiculously expensive. So sometimes Asus has great deals on the ZenBook, and if that moment comes up, it'd be a laptop that I'd look at. All right, Aero 15. Now I gotta ask you guys another question. Which laptop would you get? Would you rock something like the Dell XPS 15? Or would you go, okay, let's say both of these laptops were priced exactly the same, okay? You have this very sexy 15-inch Aero Blade 15 with its OLED display. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit wider, a little bit deeper. That's what she said. No, that's not that. Nope, that didn't make sense. They're both 9th gen. You get a 1650 with this, RTX 2070 Max-Q with this, gorgeous 4K displays. This one comes calibrated, Pantone or X-ray calibrated right out of the box, so it's looking great. Which one would you choose? Would you go for the Aero 15 with the OLED display, or would you go for the 4K Dell XPS 15? You're going to get the better battery life with the Dell XPS 15. You're going to get the thinner form factor, but you're going to get a lot more horsepower from the Gigabyte OLED. Just curious what you guys would choose. Let me know in the comments below. You also get like a numpad. So if you're at school, you're crunching numbers because that's what you do. You just learn how to add for the very first time. You're adding up those pennies to pay off your student debt. You got the numpad. So no OLED for me, XPS all the way. That's what one person says. Dell XPS for 15 for me. Aero, XPS, Aero, Gigabyte, Aero. So far, we're getting a little bit more Aeros. Pretty even, but I'm seeing a slight edge to the Aero. So those people are probably prioritizing GPU power, CPU power, slightly better cooled CPU, a gaming laptop, and a slightly bigger form factor. Now, one thing's for sure is that the Aero will run louder. This is a louder laptop. Like, you can hear it right now. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Like, there's a little hissing noise happening from the Aero, whereas on the Dell XPS 15, it's a little bit quiet. But trust me, you get the Dell XPS 15 going, those fans kick in, it gets pretty loud as well. Numpad is pretty useless. I agree it is, but some people actually need it. Hey, Matt, when are we getting a review of the guitar? Probably never, just because I suck at it, but that's a Fender Stratocaster American. It's a left-handed model. I played it for like 2 weeks, and I suck. The truth. It's the truth. Okay. All right, so And like, look at the difference in cooling underneath here. Like these both have i9 processors. So like, look how much more space you get, or how much bigger the grills are on this laptop compared to this. Now, granted, obviously the Aero has a more powerful GPU. The RTX 2070 Max-Q definitely runs a lot harder than the 1650, but you have to understand these laptops get hot, you know? We're not sticking AMD GPUs in here where they reduce the amount of power they produce, but you get less performance. These are powerful, hungry NVIDIA cards that give you that performance that you guys have been always asking for. Will you make a video on the Asus F570 gaming laptop? Probably not, to be honest with you. Review a Xiaomi Mi gaming laptop. I'll see what I can do. MSI GF63 with GTX 1650 Max-Q 8300H. So I didn't review that specific model. Like I said, the last one I reviewed was a GTX 1050 or 1050 Ti, I forget. And it was okay. Like the performance was fine. It got a little hot, but I just wasn't a fan of the build quality. So Paul says the Aero has a much better cooling system. I absolutely agree. It does have a better cooling system. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me change this. I don't know if you guys can see this in the light, but like, look at that. Look how many heat pipes it has compared. Well, you can't see on this one, but definitely has more than what's in the Dell XPS 15. You got upgradable RAM. You got upgradable NVMe drives. You have a pretty decent size. Actually, that's probably my biggest complaint about the Aero. Because you got so much power inside of here, you are losing out on the battery life. Like this is just not going to get you that much battery life compared to the Dell XPS 15, just because it has that slightly bigger battery and it's drawing less power. Thank you so much, Roger. You are the nicest Englishman, UK man I've ever met. People, please go check out Roger. He has a fantastic, wonderful channel, very crispy videos, and the voice of gods. So go check him out. So Esav says, not even Italian mafioso Gunstream. I don't like your attitude, okay? It's blacka. It's not a nice place for you to tell me it's a mafioso. I find you a couple of times. I get angry. I smash a couple of things. I don't like your attitude. So my Discord server wants me to do an Italian style review. Maybe I'll do it one day. I don't know. Could be pretty funny. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments below. Okay. What else do I got to show you guys? So I think that's pretty much it for laptops today. 4 laptops here in the studio. Actually, I got a lot more right here. 1 second. Okay. Let's go through this quickly. All right. Let's go through all this pretty quickly. Okay. So let's put these aside. I got some more here. I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of all of these laptops to help you make a better purchasing decision, okay? This one is the Acer Nitro 7. I just reviewed this recently, okay? I compared it to the Acer Nitro 5. It's the exact same laptop. The only difference, here, you know what? This is an old ThinkPad. Let me put this over here. Oh, man. Okay, the only difference between this and the other one is the design. Like with the Nitro 7, you're getting this beautiful metal design. And I'll be honest with you, it looks a lot better. It's a clean design compared to the regular Nitro 5. But there's not much else of a difference. They both have the exact same chassis. The fans are both on the left-hand side. They equally give you the exact same performance. However, you do get a better display on the Nitro 7. They're both 60 Hertz with options to buy 144 Hertz, but if you do buy the 60 Hertz version on the Nitro 7, you are getting a more color accurate panel, which will appeal to people who do more creative work, but also like to game. Now, if you're specifically just a gamer, don't waste your money on the Nitro 7. It makes absolute 0 sense just because the performance value on both of these laptops are equal. Like it's literally the same thing. And even though the display is inferior on the Nitro 5, for gaming, it still looks fine. Like the contrast levels are good. Everything looks great. Still 60 Hertz, still IPS. So get the Nitro 5 if you're sticking to specifically gaming. Or if you're going to do a little bit more creative work and you're on a budget, the Nitro 7 will be a little bit more appealing to the more color accurate panel. So that's for these 2 laptops. Okay. Ugh, it's getting heavy here. What else do we have? Okay, this. Can anybody guess this laptop? You guys got 5 seconds. Name this laptop. Let's go. Let's hear it. Fast. First person who gets it gets a virtual high five to the head. Which laptop am I showing you guys right here? Apex Anime, can you please stop spamming the channel? First person who gets the name of this laptop gets a virtual high five. So I can't pronounce your name because it's a Russian name, but I'm gonna guess your name is Nikolai. Okay, I'm just gonna guess. He says Asus Zephyrus G. He's absolutely right. It is the Zephyrus G. This is not a bad laptop either. This is like the more premium version of the Asus TUF gaming laptop. So kind of like a similar idea with the Acer Nitro 5 and Nitro 7. You have a more premium build, better display. It's using the Ryzen 7 3750H, which is a pretty good processor. And the GTX, I think this one has the 1660 Ti in it. I could be wrong. Anyways, here's the thing about Ryzen processors, since we're on the topic of it. AMD is getting better and better every single year with their Ryzen processors. Like, they're becoming a more valid reason to purchase, in some ways, over the Intel CPUs. They're not there yet. Like, they're still, I'd say, about 2-3 years behind on laptop CPUs compared to Intel, but they're still gaining momentum pretty fast. Like, this is the first year where I wasn't completely disappointed by Ryzen CPUs. Like, they're much better than they've ever been. But I still think they're about 2 to 3 years behind Intel for laptop CPUs. Desktop CPUs, that's a totally different story. This is like the first year that Ryzen CPUs are dominating Intel variants. Now here's the thing, if you're buying a laptop with a Ryzen CPU, you need to know one specific thing. Make sure the laptop has 2 sticks of memory inside. Whether you buy it with 2 sticks or you purchase an extra one and place it in afterwards. The Ryzen CPU is very dependent on having 2 sticks of RAM for performance. Like, you're just gonna get much better performance with dual channel memory with a Ryzen CPU compared to something like an Intel CPU. Like, when I used 1 stick with an Intel CPU, I saw about like 2 to 3 frames per second frame drop on most games, whereas there was a big frame drop with Ryzen CPUs, like 10 to 15 in some instances. Okay, so that is the Ryzen G. Love from Pakistan. Well, love from Canada. Did you speak about the Predator Helios 300? I do have the Predator Helios 300, but it is in the other room. I don't have it in this room, but I do have it. It's one of my favorite, like, bang for your buck mid-range gaming laptops. Just because of the price point, Acer significantly improved it this year. Like, it's a big step up from the previous year. Like, they've done a really good job. So I recommended it a lot to a lot of people this year. And they had such a great deal on Prime Day. Like, they literally, that laptop sold out like within an hour. Like, it was just nuts. And same with the Acer Triton 500. That was actually the better deal on Prime Day. Like, that deal came out slightly after the Predator Helios 300. 300 sold out. I posted about the Triton 500. That sold out pretty quickly as well. Okay, this laptop. This is the Razer Blade 15 OLED. So just like the Aero Blade 15, this is also an OLED display. Now, for those of you out there wondering about OLED displays on laptops, they are all the same. Like, they are literally all the same. There is no difference between any of these laptops because they're all using the same Samsung OLED panel. So whether you buy the Razer Blade 15 OLED or you buy the Aero 15 OLED, it's the exact same panel. So my suggestion to you consumers out there looking at these gaming laptops is, especially if you're considering an OLED panel, is don't worry about the panel. Like, if you know you're getting OLED, you're getting OLED. Focus on the other characteristics. So GPU, how well does it cool? How good is the keyboard? How cool is the design? Does all the port situation meet my needs? Does it have good battery life? How's the fan noise? How's the warranty program? Then worry about the CPU, but never worry about the display, because at the end of the day, if you're buying an OLED laptop, they are all the exact same panels. They're all from Samsung right now. The reason why the Razer Blade looks a little bit duller right now is only because the brightness is down. So if I crank this up, you can see the brightness just significantly going up. I'm telling you, man, these are gorgeous displays. Oh, Also, the other downfall to these displays, having an OLED display, is that they're very glossy. Like you're looking at a very glossy display. So you have to keep that in mind. You're not going to want a lot of reflection around you because it's going to be bothering you a little bit. But I don't know, man. When I stare at this thing, it's like staring at a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Like that's the best way to describe it. Like if you've used the S10 Plus or if you've used a Note phone, that's how it is looking at this laptop. So very punchy, oversaturated, very contrasty. My suggestion is, even though it comes factory calibrated right out of the box, is to still calibrate it yourself. Reduce the brightness, because when you're editing on this, like whether it's Photoshop, design work, whatever you use, you don't want the colors to look that oversaturated because it's going to throw you off when you post that picture or send that picture to a different device. So even though it says it comes calibrated out of the box, reduce the brightness, recalibrate it in the studio setting. You're going to be working on this laptop so that you can have a better design experience. Okay, beautiful beast. He unboxed multiple laptops. Does the Razer come with 1660 Ti? This Razer has an RTX 2080 Max Q. You cannot buy a Razer with the 1660 Ti. I think the lowest one you can get is the RTX 2060 Max Q, or the regular RTX 2060. Whatever happened to Intel AMD combined chips? That was like a 1-year thing. That was there, it came, it went. It's no longer there. Did you fully switch over to Final Cut Pro? No, I was using Final Cut Pro. I edited about I'd say about 8 videos with it. I want to switch to it. Like, it's a lot faster, it's a lot smoother, and for what I do, it makes a lot of sense. But that means I have to change all my PCs to Mac, and that'd be very expensive. So no, I have not switched fully over to Final Cut Pro. But I do edit in it sometimes. Like if I'm just working on my laptop and I'm traveling, I'll probably edit in Final Cut Pro just because it's so smooth. Tom, so happy to see you. It's been like forever. I miss your little avatar in the channel. Great for you to be here. Also, if you're looking for a laptop, a resistant Discord server, okay, Python. Do you have an MSI GS65? No, I do not. The only laptop I have is the MSI GS75. I do have the MSI GE75 Raider in the other room. I did a review on that. If you want to check it out, it is on the channel. Asava says, greetings from Germany. In general, can you try repasting any laptops, or are they all only review units you have to send back? So some of these I could repaste. I did a repasting video a while back. I repasted an Acer Nitro 5 Spin. If you want to take a look at that video, you can see what I did there. I did mess it up a little bit, but it ended up working just fine, and we saw a performance difference after the repasting. But I wouldn't mind trying one of these laptops because I think it'd be a lot of fun. Maybe for a future stream where we paste a bunch of laptops and see what happens. That can make for some good content. What else? Jermaine's in the chat, one of the best concept creators out there. If you ever see those crazy Note 9, or not Note 9, I guess would be like, what, iPhone 11, or any upcoming phone that's not out yet, render, Jermaine's the man. He's the one where everyone's ripping his designs off and throwing them on their websites. Axon M versus Galaxy Fold, which do you prefer? Galaxy Fold, there's no contest there. What about M15 Bretta? I don't have it yet. Still waiting for it to come into the studio, so hopefully soon. All right, 5 more minutes. Lightning question round. Let's wrap this up. I know I'm super late. Oh well, I'll be part of the replay crew. That's okay, buddy. I'm glad you're here, though. I'm glad you made it. Why do you keep writing MSI GS65 like 8,000 times? Do you have a Dell XPS? Yes, I do. It's right here. Here is the Dell XPS 15. If you want to go back, I talk about it a little bit earlier. Which laptop do you like as design and portable? Oh man, so I think my favorite design right now, I really like the Microsoft Surface Book. It's still one of my favorite designs. I just personally don't use it anymore because of the processor. It's using a U-series processor, and it's just not powerful enough for the work I do. I need like a 6-core H-series processor to support Adobe Premiere because it's just so crazy. So I'd probably say that the Surface Book is one of my favorite designs. I'll be honest with you, I do like the MacBook Pro. I think it still has one of the best designs on a laptop. I'm not talking about the thermals, I'm just talking about the way the chassis looks. I also like the fact that it has a 16:10 display. Actually, that's another thing. Let's get this out of the way right now. PC laptop manufacturers, the ones specifically making the Dell XPS 15s or the Lenovo X1. This is the Lenovo X1 Extreme, by the way. The Lenovo X1 Extremes. Please, for the love of God, make a 16 by 10 or 3 by 2 display. I'll love you forever. When you're doing productivity, especially in this category, 3 by 2, 16 by 10 is a better deal, a better choice, especially for people who are typing documents, especially for people who are doing content creation. Anybody doing any sort of productivity, 3 by 2, 16 by 10, that extra vertical space makes a lot more sense. So if you're seeing this video, the Dell XPS 15s, the Lenovo X1 Extremes, the Asus ZenBook Pros, that category, we want 16 by 10 or 3 by 2 aspect ratios. Let's make it happen. All right. Do you think the Aero is good for a college student? Yeah. I mean, like, if you don't mind not having good battery life, but you want something that's like clean, portable, fantastic for gaming, Aero 15s are not a bad choice. Just know it just thermal throttles like every other laptop, but that's expected. Like, you guys are buying laptops. Like, they're all going to thermal throttle. It's just which one does it the least and which one provides the best cooling. I mean, that's where we are right now. You should review the MSI. Oh my God, if one more person says the GS65, I'm going to ban the GS65 from my channel. Like, I'll never review it again. I'm kidding. I will review it one of these days, but there's no point. I reviewed the GS75. It's just kind of no point now. Razer Blade 15 or Alienware M15? I haven't reviewed the M15, but if we have to talk like on paper, probably the Razer Blade 15, and that's only because it's cleaner. I know from what I hear, the M15 has RAM soldered onto the motherboard, and that's a no-go for me. And this is just like a cleaner design. And from my past experience with with Alienware laptops, they were poor when it came to thermal performance, like very poor thermal performance. And I don't know if this year is going to be the same. So that's why I'm going to stick with Razer for now until I can actually test the Alienware. Thank you so much, Kraken Tortoise. I appreciate it. You're the man. It's nice to see you back in the chat. I always see your face. What the hell? My wife's in here? This is out of control. This is when I know I gotta leave. When your wife enters the chat. Yo, Python, can you put a ban on Andrea Curtis? That's my wife. Let's get her out of here. She's causing spam. She's causing spam in the channel. Let's see. I love my GX701. Which laptop does have the best thermal to performance? So Asus Zephyrus S has really good thermal performance. The Blade has good thermal performance, but only because they're doing a lot of power throttling. This year on the newer models, they actually undervolted the CPUs, so you're actually getting more performance than you did compared to the previous model. And if you have the previous model, that's something you can easily do yourself. Like, you can easily undervolt your CPU and get the same performance as the newer 2019 models, which they're doing straight out of the factory. Oh yeah, Matt, what happened to the MacBook Air tests, huh? So that's coming out on Sunday. Sunday, if you're looking for the full review on the MacBook Air 2019, it's this Sunday. I take it through its paces. I test everything, based on all of your questions you asked me in my original unboxing. Why am I still in this camera? Okay. So, what else do we got here? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 1 minute left. Best thin and light with MX 150 or 250. So, Razer Blade Stealth, fantastic. They have done a good job of cooling that MX 150, and because they did a good job of cooling it, you're getting a lot of great performance out of it because using the 25 watt chip. Now, if you want something a little bit with the MX250, the MateBook 14 or the MateBook X Pro 2019, if you can get your hands on one. Greetings from Brazil. Ben, my God, my Portuguese is so bad. Welcome to the channel, buddy. Glad to see you here. Hi, good stream. Please say what to buy. Zephyrus G MABM or Lenovo Wi-Fi 40. I'm sorry, I had bad habits. Because I'm Russian gangster, I put on Russian accent when I read Russian name. It's not my fault. It's because it's part of heritage. Zephyrus G or Lenovo Y40. Definitely the Y40 or 740. The Zephyrus G is good, but it's using an Asus processor. Not an Asus, AMD processor, and you're better off with the Intel variant. Samsung Book S. I definitely want to try it. These new ARM processors that are coming out intrigue me now than they ever did before, just because we're entering a phase where ARM processors are getting really, really good. Like if you take a look at something like the iPad Pro, for example, the ARM processor inside of it is doing things that a lot of laptops struggle doing today. So if Qualcomm can do something similar with Windows 10, which I'm not too like, I don't have my hopes up, then we could see something amazing, because there's going to be a point in time where we're going to have a big push on ARM processors again. We're just waiting for that moment. As soon as Apple does it, like as soon as Apple makes the transition on a lot of their MacBooks to ARM-based processors, you can bet that Windows PC laptops are going to follow suit. What time is your studio? Greetings from Slovenia. Thank you for joining. It is 5 p.m. here in Canada. Dell G5 2019. So I reviewed the early Dell G5 2019 that came out, I think 3 months around March. It's not bad. It's okay. It does get a little bit hot. It's not a laptop I regularly recommend, so there's better options out there. But if you can get a crazy deal on it, it could be a good option, but it's not a laptop that I usually recommend. I wonder if Matt has a bit of Russian in his genes somewhere. So my background is zero Russian. I'm 100%, well, I was born in Canada, but my background is actually Portuguese. My parents are from Portugal. That's where my heritage is from. Will Surface Laptop 3 have USB-C or what? Maybe an MX252. Surface Laptop 3 will definitely have USB Type-C. I don't think they're going to put an MX250 in it. I think if they're going to stick an MX250 in anything, it's most likely going to be in the Surface Pro, just because that laptop is always meant to be a little bit more powerful. But I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up that Microsoft would actually put a dedicated GPU in any of their laptops, because they never had to. Like, there was no reason to. The only thing that I do hope, though, is in the Surface Book that they actually put an H-series processor. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that's what I want. I don't know how battery life would be. I'd probably take a big hit on it. Okay, hi, looking for a new laptop. I like a high screen to body ratio. I'm looking at the S940. You know what? I'm actually staring at the S940 right now. This is what I'm using to take all of your questions. Let's see if I can bring it into frame. Hold on. This is the S940 right here. Okay, if you guys can see. I can't close it because your chat's on this, but this is what it looks like. And he asks, which one would you suggest? Gonna use it for things, okay, S940, ZenBook S13, and last year's X Pro, but it isn't discontinued in my country. So last year's X Pro, I have it, I still use it. Actually, my wife uses it mostly. And I find that it gets a little too hot and it slows down a little bit. But I've heard better things about the 2019 model. I haven't reviewed it personally, but based on the MateBook 14, it seems to be like a big improvement. But I do have the S940 here. Like, I love this laptop. It is very, very light. Like, you lay your eyes on this screen, especially if you get the 4K model, it is absolutely gorgeous. Like, it is a beautiful display. It's also 14 inches, and it doesn't look like 14 inches. It's even smaller than, let's say, the ThinkPad, which is also 14 inches. The keyboard is not as good as the ThinkPad, but still a good keyboard. Do a review of Zephyrus MG502. Razer Phone 2 is now $399. Should I buy it? If you want, I've never reviewed it. I'm not a fan of that style of phone. I think they're too big. It's just not for me. I think you can find better phones for that price. Maybe like the Galaxy S10e. You could possibly find something for around that price tag, or even last year's Galaxy S9 would be a better option than the Razer Phone 2. Python banned Matt's wife using the signature karate chop. Speaking of Matt, I'm still waiting on the chop. There's a chop for you, Kraken. Don't have sound effects in this live stream, but you can imagine it. Okay. Wow, we're over time here. Okay, 2 more minutes because you guys are all awesome. Let's see here. I just want all the Surface devices to finally use TB3 charge via USB-C, even if they also keep the Surface adapter. I agree. I want them to. I honestly think the next Surface, you're going to get all that stuff that you asked for. I don't think it's going to be a big problem whatsoever. Okay. What other video editing software would you use on Windows? So Windows, basically your only options that are good is DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere. My suggestion to you is to immediately try DaVinci Resolve. Not because Adobe Premiere is like buggy and requires a lot of resources, only because DaVinci Resolve is free, like free. You're getting a very powerful editing suite for free. And you really don't need to pay for the more expensive version unless you're doing more extensive stuff like collaborating with people or needing specific codecs, but the free version will take care of most of your needs. So try that first, see if you like it, see if you like video editing, and then make your decision there. What is the Discord server name? So Discord server is in the description down below. You can check it out. Python just pasted it in the comments. Thank you, buddy. Thoughts on the possibility of 120 Hz OLED in 2020? Oh, that would be a beautiful thing. 120 Hz OLED. I would love to see that on a laptop. I mean, we see it on phones or 90 Hz on phones, but I'd love to see 120 Hz on a laptop. Alienware M17 or M15 are to review. One of these days, just waiting for it to come in. Is the Note 10 in studio? No, it is not in studio. Hopefully in the next week or so, I'll get it here. Razer Blade 15 or Asus ROG GX7, which is the best for content creators? Probably the Razer Blade 15 because you can get it with a 4K display. I would go with the Razer Blade 15. Yeah, I think I'd still go with the Razer Blade 15. I just don't like the way the GX701's keyboard. It would drive me crazy after a while. But if you're gaming mostly, then I'd probably lean towards the GX701. Will dual channel RAM improve gaming experience on my Helio 300 8th gen? So that's an Intel processor. It will improve the gaming experience. It's not going to be drastic like it would be on an AMD Ryzen chip on a laptop. But yes, you will see a slight improvement. Huawei Mate 20 Pro or P30 Pro? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a very good question. I've been struggling with this one for a little while. So the camera is definitely better on the P30 Pro, but I like the form factor. I like the display better on the Mate 20 Pro. Like me personally, I'd probably still use the Mate 20 Pro over the P30 Pro. Is it worth buying the MateBook 13 now? I'm a developer. If you can get a great deal on it, why not? It's a good laptop. Will you recommend the Zephyrus M 2019? I haven't reviewed it, so no, I will not review it. I will not recommend it at this time. Samsung S10 Plus or normal Note 10? Definitely the Samsung S10 Plus. It's cheaper, has a better display. You still get the headphone jack. You can get just as much RAM. You have an SD card slot, which doesn't come with the Note 10. You have better battery life, bigger display. Did I say that already? I think I did. And you have a second front-facing camera. So definitely the S10 Plus over the Note 10. Like, honestly, there's no reason to buy a Note device unless you, this is like a totally another rant. There's no reason to buy a Note device unless you need the S Pen. Samsung created a beautiful phone this year. Don't get me wrong. The Note 10 is probably the best looking device I've seen all year, but there's no reason to buy it unless you need a pen. Absolutely not. What about Apple locking iPhone batteries? Yes, I heard about that. So if you guys haven't heard, if you replace an iPhone battery, you can do it. Like you can go to a third-party vendor to replace it, but it's not going to reset in the software. So even though after you replace that battery, the software is still going to tell you that your battery is still at a certain percentage, like at 85% or 80% on the capacity. It's kind of a shame. Like, I don't like the fact that Apple's doing this kind of lockdown because at the end of the day, you're paying a lot of money for these devices. And if you want to get it fixed from a third-party shop, that should be your choice because it's your phone. You do what you want with it. So I'm not a fan of that. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to call this. That's the end of this live stream. Guys, thank you so much for being here. This is over an hour. We went 10 minutes over. I want to appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more live streams, if you want one every single week, maybe, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can get some guests on here to make this more interesting. But either way, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being here. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned. Sunday, I got a video coming out. Monday, I got a video coming out. Hit the like button on the stream. Share it with your friends. Tell your mother, tell your brother about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Time for the awkward moment where I go over here and shut down the stream.